Sorry, don't mean to make this a part 2 again, but Tim Ballard, the guy it's based off of, he said it happens often in America. In America. And here they are in America trying to normalize perversion on kids. Trying to tell children, shh. Don't talk to your parents about this. Don't tell them that we're trying to convince you to be trans. Don't do that. And they're trying to suggest that parents' rights should be taken away. Oh, gee, I wonder why. They're slowly trying to take away our rights, our Second Amendment. They're slowly trying to take away our First Amendment. They're trying to destroy the Constitution. Why? Because they want to get to the kids. They want to force all adults in compliance. They want to take our rights away so they could do many perverse things, including involving kids in perverse things. As a Christian, I can't just sit by and let that happen. As an American, as a mother and a wife, I can't sit and let that happen. As an American, I can't sit and let that happen. I can't be a coward and break God's heart, break my kid's heart, break my husband's heart, break our forefathers' heart, or break my own heart. We have to take a stand. Again, if you're a person's LGTB, you're a grown adult, and you do things consensually, it's your decision, your life. But leave the kids alone. They don't have to know what you do. Even with us that are heterosexuals, they don't have to know what we do. Again, for the most part, many of us heterosexuals, when we talk to kids, all we say is, me and daddy fell in love, got married, and had you. That's as far as the conversation goes. Now, when they're old enough to have the birds and the bees talk, then we talk a little more. But even with that, we don't say to kids that it should all be about SCX. Us parents rather should say, you shouldn't do that till you get married. You shouldn't do that until you find the right person to get married to, then do that. And that way you don't have to worry about risk of unwanted pregnancy. You don't have to worry about risk of STDs. You don't have to worry about shaming yourself or getting soul ties with people that would never give a rat's about you. We should tell our children they should practice abstinence. We should tell our children that they should try to stay virgins till married, more importantly. But even if they didn't, they still need to know abstinence, abstinence, abstinence. Abortion should never be used as birth control. And it shouldn't be used, period. Because no child should pay the death penalty for what selfish people did. No child should pay the death penalty for other people, for grown adults who want to be selfish. And no child should be sexualized to protect feelings of selfish grown adults that want to involve the kids in their nasty stuff. Gay or straight. I also dare people to look up the story of Moira Grayland, the famous musician. She's written a book about her experience. I can't exactly remember it right now. But there is a video on YouTube of her talking about her testimony. Her parents were famous writers. Her mother was a lesbian. And her dad liked little boys. And they both forced her. They both touched her. They both did nasty things to her. And what was the reason? They wanted her to become gay. They wanted her to become a lesbian. They traumatized her to get her convinced that she should be part of the LGBT group. Now, with me saying that, I'm not going to say that a bunch of gay parents or a bunch of LGBT people are doing that. I'm not going to say that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there are some that are doing it. There are some out there that are that gross and trying to do that. And I dare you to read her book. I dare you to look up her testimony. And one of the things she said is she admits that she's a bigot, and she said, of course, that she's a bigot. What else could she be but a bigot? And the thing is, I don't blame her, considering what she's experienced and what she have seen. Because listen, she wasn't just the only victim here. She also saw her dad victimizing boys. So considering being a bigot is a perfect fit for her, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, because, again, we need to be more concerned about the safety of children than adult, grown people's feelings. Put their feelings, if they want to be offended, let them be offended. I cannot just sit back and do nothing while children being put at risk just because people are too scared to offend a bunch of freaking snowflake adults that apparently don't even know what 2 + 2 is. They don't know what 2 + 2 is. They don't know much about our country or English or math seriously? We're cowering in a corner for a bunch of people that are some of the most ignorant and arrogant people on this earth? That have no reading skills, hardly any writing skills. All they can do is whine and cry about everything. And those of us who are believers in Jesus Christ, we need to be rebuking the spirit of Ashtoreth, Moloch, and Baal, and Jezebel out of our country. We need to get back to Christ. Like I said with my channel, my main audience I want to have are Christians, because I'm trying to get Christians to be Christians again. I'm trying to get Christians to understand what Christianity really means. Because sadly, a lot of people who claim Christ or claim Christian don't even understand what being a Christian is. They think they just have to know his name, know he died for us, and then just live their way. They can just do life as they want. That's not how this works. And that's not how God operates in our faith. That's not how it works. He demands obedience. He demands faith. He demands us to take a step in doing the right thing, to glorify his name and to help our fellow man. Jesus said the 2 greatest commandments is to love God with all your heart, body, mind, soul, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So what this means is value God and value others above yourself. You're not put on this earth to please yourself or to live for yourself. You're supposed to live for him, and you're also supposed to live to help others, to be kind to others, to help the poor, to love your enemy, to pray for those who persecute you. Now, we don't have to hate. I don't hate the leftists. I admit I get quite annoyed with them, but I don't hate them. I hope and pray that they'll see the truth and they'll come to Christ. I hope they'll get away from the demons that bind them. Whether it's Ashtoreth and Baal, or if it's confusion or depression. That the spirit that tries to lead them to suicide. I want people set free. I want people to have Jesus Christ and have peace and love and have the power of the Holy Spirit in them. I want them to know there is someone out there that loves and cares about them so much he became a man and died for them. I want them to know that. Ephesians 6 says, we do not fight against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of the air. But what we need to stop doing is just stop complaining on the internet and start taking action. We should start getting involved in politics and demand that people are supposed to represent us to do things right, peacefully protest, demand those who represent us to put into law that be protecting our rights as Americans, to protect our children, to protect parents' rights, to protect our First Amendment, Second Amendment. I am not going to call for violence or nothing. We have to do this right. But if there comes a time to where we have to have self-defense, and I mean real self-defense, we have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves and protect our own. But also, bottom line, if there comes a time where the laws of the land contradicts God and His word, we have to choose God above the laws of the land. See, Corrie ten Boom, the Ten Boom family is a great example of this. Even though they was told by the Nazis to not help the Jewish people, they said, no, we're going to obey God because He's the highest authority and we're going to help these people. We should have that same mindset. And don't get scared if they call you whatever ist or whatever ism. I mean, at this point, those words mean practically nothing anymore. I mean, as a lot of conservatives joke, it's pretty much considered a badge of honor anymore. Because me being white, a freckle face, I guarantee you there'd be some person that'd be like, this racist white woman, this racist homophobic white woman, dare to mention that those men had their little genitals hanging out around kids. How racist of her. How homophobic of her. I'd rather be called a freaking racist than a homophobic than to let you pervert a child. Call me whatever ist you want. Sorry, sweetheart, you're not. The world don't center around you. Be offended. For all I freaking care. Be mad. My issue is, you're trying to force this crap on kids. Again, for the last time, if you're a grown adult and you're LGBT, your life, your decision. Just keep the children out of it. And I'm not the only Christian white person that's saying this. A bunch of us are. And hello, even Christians, wait. You guys forget that there's Christians that are black and Hispanic and Asian, right? But for some reason, you guys like to pretend that they don't exist. You want to say that some of you try to say that being a Christian is a white man thing. No. Christ is for everybody, regardless of skin tone. But anyway, even a lot of black and Asian and Hispanic Christians like, nope, we don't support this. This is not coming on the kids. And not just Christians, but also Hindus, Muslims, atheists. And I don't mean to say atheists in a way like I wouldn't expect to do otherwise. Sorry about that. I'm trying to control I'm trying to keep calm, okay? I wasn't trying to, like I said, to say that with saying atheist, my bad. But Christians, Hindus, Muslims, atheists, agnostics, a bunch of people all say and agree, nope, this is where we draw the line. This is not coming on kids. There's even people like Blair White, who's trans, by the way, who says, nope, don't. This is going too far. We're not pushing this on kids. We should not try to convince children to do sex changes or nothing. And this is coming from a person who's had one himself. And he knows how difficult and hard it was for him. And he was an adult. He was a grown man when he had this all done. When he transitioned. He was a grown man, and he talked about before how tough it was for him. So he knows what he's talking about. Not just him, but also other people who fully transitioned that are speaking out saying, no, don't put this on kids. They know what they're talking about. And also detransitioners. And isn't it funny how the left constantly tries to shut the voice of detransitioners or even people like Blair White? If what they're saying holds no water, if what they're saying holds no truth, then why are you trying to shut them up for? Let them talk. If what they say holds no water, holds no truth, then just let them talk. But because it does hold truth and because it does hold water, you got to try to shut them up. But the thing is, if you truly feel what you're doing is right, then why do you try to shut up those that are against it? If you truly feel what you're doing is okay or right, then why are you trying to do everything you can to hide it to stop it from being exposed for what it is? It sounds like deep down, you know it's wrong. You just don't want to admit that it is. I may not be able to talk as well as some other people can, but I hope and pray that whoever hears this and sees this knows and understands fully well what I'm trying to say here. I know I can go on and on and say the same thing over and over again. I know I tend to repeat myself. I can't help it. That's just how it is with me. But you know what? I'm going to make my voice heard. And we should all do that. But going back to the atheist thing, what I was trying to say is I wasn't trying to put emphasis on the word atheist because, listen, I know, Christian or not, I know people got morals. It's just sadly a lot of people don't understand that morality comes from God himself. But there's a lot of people in this world that do have morals and they also have humanity. And for all of us who have morals and humanity, especially those who claim to be Christians, we have to defend the defenseless. We have to protect the kids. I fully agree at what they did in the blasphemy against Christ was awful. I fully, wholeheartedly agree with that, and that definitely should be talked about. But let's not forget that we need to protect the kids too. And I hope and pray that more YouTubers that talk about the Olympics and stuff or whatever also talks about that. They need to talk about both things. And in case I haven't said this already, to the community of the Olympics that did the whole show, just so you know, your apology is not accepted. Not by me and not by many people. Your apology is not accepted. Because first and foremost, if you had any consciousness in you at all, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. And I don't mean just in regards of whatever you did and seemingly mocking Lord's Supper. I mean also what you did to the kids. But we all know you're not truly sorry for any of it. You're just saying sorry to save face. So, apology not accepted. God help us. God help us do the right thing to protect our children and to protect our rights, and help us Christians stand up for the Lord and stand for our families, and not cower down. For God is greater than those people who want to be offended all the time. God is greater than them. He's greater than... I want to tell my fellow people this, especially fellow Christians. Remember, Goliath was offended when David came up to him. And he said, "Am I a dog that you send this little boy?" He was offended. But did David cower down when Goliath showed that he was offended? No. He threw the stone. Hit him in the forehead. And he got it in the forehead because God guided the stone. God was with David the entire time. So we should not cower down just because all the loudmouths want to say, "I'm offended. This is racist. This is homophobic. This is transphobic. This is whatever phobic." And the thing is, none of these people are giants. We're cowering down to a bunch of people that are not even big and tall like Goliath. And yet, David faced Goliath regardless, even though he was big, tall, strong man. Sadly, a lot of us are acting like Saul and the soldiers, shaking in our boots. But even they weren't shaking in the boots with people that got rainbow hair or tattoos all over their face. And listen, I'm not saying that tattoos is wrong or indication that they're... I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Let's not generalize. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna generalize. But either way, I mean, just if you look at the army of Israel and they see the leftists, do you honestly think that's gonna be scary to them? Especially when they cry and whine when the leftists cry and whine like a bunch of kids. Do you honestly think the army of Israel and Saul would have been shaking in their boots over that? No. They probably look at them in confusion and they're like, should we laugh? Or I'm sorry, I know I'm babbling now, but again, the whole point to what I'm saying in this video, and part 1 of this, is we have to do more to be protective of kids. Yes, we should defend Jesus. Yes, I fully agree with that. But let's not forget the other thing that they did in the opening Olympics, and that was harming children. Involving them in sexual stuff like that is harming them. That is hurting them. Whether they want to see it that way or not, that's exactly what it is. And again, this is coming from someone who has been harmed as a child. And I know there's many other people like me who feel the exact same way. And if there's other people like me that has not voiced anything out yet, please do so. Please make yourself heard and get people to understand that involving kids and stuff like that is not okay. It may be scary for you. You may not want to talk about, which is totally understandable. You don't have to give anybody details of what happened to you specifically. You don't need... Just let people know this isn't... This kind of thing, not right. Again, I dare you people to watch the documentary, The Pink Room. Look up Marilyn Grayland and her story. You've got to understand how dark this stuff goes. May God help us. May God help us. God help us, help us, help us. But as Christians, again, we gotta knock Ashtoreth, Baal, and Molech demons out of our country. In the name of Jesus Christ. Our churches need to repent to Christ to come back to Him. We want to save our country, we want to save our kids. That's what we have to do. God help us. Shalom.